The book 1984 was written by George Orwell, who was an English writer and journalist. He published the book in 1949, shortly after the end of World War II. The world was changing quickly, and Orwell wanted to warn people about the dangers of total control and the loss of personal freedom. 1984 is a story about a future where a powerful government watches everyone and controls everything. Even though the book is fictional, it feels real because it shows what can happen if people lose their rights and stop questioning authority. The story is set in a fictional country called Oceania. Oceania is ruled by a political group known as the Party. At the top of the party is a leader called Big Brother. Big Brother is not just a person. He is a symbol of control and power. People are told that Big Brother watches everything they do and even knows what they think. The party uses technology to spy on people all the time. There are cameras everywhere, even in people's homes, and microphones that can hear their conversations. The party's goal is to control not only what people do, but also how they feel and what they believe. The party teaches people to love Big Brother and hate anyone who disagrees with him. They also teach people to distrust each other. Children are taught to report their parents if they do something wrong. The party even controls history. They rewrite old newspapers, books, and records so that everything makes the party look good and powerful. If the party changes its mind about something, they make it seem like they were always right. This is called doublethink, which means holding two opposite ideas in your mind at the same time and believing both of them are true. The party uses this to confuse people and keep them under control. The main character of the story is a man named Winston Smith. Winston works for the party at a place called the Ministry of Truth. His job is to change historical records to match whatever the party wants people to believe. For example, if the party says they won a war that they actually lost, Winston has to change old records to make it look like the party is telling the truth. Even though Winston does his job, he secretly hates the party and Big Brother. He knows the party lies, and he feels trapped in a life where he can't speak his mind or have real relationships with other people. Winston lives in a small apartment, and his life feels dull and hopeless. He spends his days surrounded by party propaganda, which includes posters of Big Brother and slogans like "War is peace," "Freedom is slavery," and "Ignorance is strength." These slogans don't make sense, but they are meant to confuse people and make them accept whatever the party says. Winston dreams of a life where he can be free and think for himself. He starts writing his thoughts in a secret journal, even though this is against the law. If the party finds out, he could be arrested or even killed. One day, Winston notices a young woman named Julia. At first, he thinks she might be a spy because she seems loyal to the party. However, Julia secretly slips him a note that says, "I love you." This surprises Winston, and it changes everything for him. He realizes that Julia, like him, hates the party. They start meeting in secret and fall in love. For the first time in a long time, Winston feels happy and alive. Julia gives him hope that there might be others who feel the same way they do. Winston and Julia have to be very careful because the party watches everything. They find hidden places where they can meet, like an old room above a shop. In this room, they talk about their dreams and hopes. They know they can't change the world, but they enjoy feeling free, even if it's just for a short time. Julia is more focused on enjoying the present, while Winston wants to understand why the party has so much power and how it can be stopped. Winston believes that there might be a secret group called the Brotherhood that is working to overthrow the party. He becomes even more hopeful when he meets a man named O'Brien. O'Brien is a high-ranking party member, but he seems to understand Winston's feelings. O'Brien tells Winston that he is part of the Brotherhood and invites him to join. Winston and Julia trust O'Brien and believe that they are finally part of something bigger. O'Brien gives them a book that explains how the party controls people and why they do it. Winston reads the book and feels like he is starting to understand the truth. However, everything falls apart when Winston and Julia are caught by the party. It turns out that O'Brien was not part of the Brotherhood at all. He was pretending to be their friend so he could catch them. The party arrests Winston and Julia and takes them to the Ministry of Love. This is a place where people are tortured until they obey the party completely. The party doesn't just want people to follow the rules, they want to control what people think and feel. O'Brien becomes Winston's torturer. He tells Winston that the party's main goal is to have total power. They don't care about making people happy or improving society. They only care about control. O'Brien uses pain and fear to try to break Winston's mind. He forces Winston to say things that aren't true, like 2 + 2 = 5, to show that the party decides what is true, not reality. The worst part of Winston's torture happens in room 101. This is a special room where people are forced to face their biggest fear. For Winston, this fear is rats. The party puts a cage of hungry rats near his face and threatens to release them. In that moment, Winston breaks down completely. He begs them to hurt Julia instead of him. By doing this, Winston betrays Julia and loses the only real connection he had. This shows that the party has succeeded in destroying his spirit. After his time in the Ministry of Love, Winston is released. He is no longer the same person. He doesn't feel anger or rebellion anymore. Instead, he loves Big Brother, just like the party wanted. The story ends with Winston sitting in a cafe, completely broken. He has lost his freedom, his love, and even his ability to think for himself. The party has won, and Winston's story is a warning about what happens when people lose their rights and their ability to resist. Orwell's 1984 is a powerful and important book because it makes people think about freedom, truth, and the dangers of unchecked power. It shows how governments can use fear, lies, and control to take away people's independence. Even though the book was written a long time ago, it is still very relevant today. People around the world use terms like Big Brother and Orwellian to talk about situations where freedom is threatened. 1984 reminds readers to question authority, protect their rights, and stay aware of how power can be used to control others.